They want to use the video that we used the playlist at the lunch.
You're on mute, Julie.
Was I on mute the whole time? Oh, that's great. Well, I was just saying that was a wonderful song from the SheEO playlist that hopefully you experienced when you signed up to start your application. And I highly recommend, at the very least, finding this playlist to use. So let me start off this evening with, so welcome. Thank you for joining today. Make sure that you've updated your Zoom name. We're going to be really informal today, adding your pronoun, countries, and venture name if you are here as a venture. Today's call is being live captioned by Otter AI. Click the live transcript button at the bottom of your Zoom window. So good evening. Good evening. This is our first evening venture call. Wanted to make sure that it was accessible to everyone. Because sometimes mornings are too early for some people and they have kid drop-offs. So I'm going to do the acknowledgement. So I acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the Gadigal land on which I work and pay my respects to Indigenous elders past, present, and emerging. Sovereignty has never been ceded, always was, and always will be Aboriginal land. I'm also acknowledging the new hope in the Australian Labor Party and the commitment to the Uluru Statement from the heart in full. The recognition that we are living amongst First Nations people who hold 80,000 years of human knowledge and cultural practices. Many of these practices are important in the world we live in and in the future we want to see. Land, family, law, ceremony, and language are five key interconnected elements of Indigenous culture. We hope to practice these elements today and moving forward. So I thank you for that. So we're going to get started. First, I encourage you to share in the chat where you're joining from, maybe as a link to your LinkedIn, because this is all about your application process starts now. Even if you decide not to apply, you're going to make friends and connections on this call. So we're going to walk through the application process. We're going to hear from Amy Bateman of Pleasant State. She's got some great stories and it's really exciting to see her journey. She'll share her application experience and being in the SheEO community. We'll do a Q&A and then we'll wrap it up. So we welcome any comments or questions that arise in the chat. At the end, we'll have an opportunity to come off mute and ask the questions. So we are here to support you in this very simple process. All right. Let's see, we have, and I just want to give props to Finn. Finn is in California, so it's midnight where they are. Let me see. All right, so we're gonna try something a little different, and I love doing this. Give me a moment. Taking a little bit of time for this. Oh, welcome, Emma. Here we go. All right, this is our SheEO venture application call. If that's what you're here for, you are in the right place. Now, welcome to Opposite Land. Our venture application is created by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. The entire process is made to be mutually beneficial for you as a venture and applicant and the activators, the people that will be reviewing the application. There is no jargon, there's no attachments, there is no pitch decks. We will just ask you to tell your story from the heart, what you're doing, why you're doing it. And as an activator, and I know that there's activators on here who enjoy reading the applications, and activators are the people who have contributed funds into the zero interest loan fund that will be loaned out. So why are we here? There's a major gap in funding for women and non-binary people. We're 51% of the population. 2.2% of venture capital goes to women. It's even less for Indigenous people. So we need to figure out the systems that were created benefit the people who created those systems. Not everyone was around the table when those systems were being created. We are now trying to find new systems that we can get more equitable capital to more equitably to people who need it. And here is what it means to be an activator, part of the SheEO community. Activators make radically generous contribution, $92 a month or $1,100 a year. And that funding goes into a zero interest loan fund that gets loaned out to ventures, who you'll hear from, over a zero interest five-year loan. Now, as an activator also, not only does your capital go to a good place where you get to decide where it's going to go, you get incredible workshops and networking and unlearning circles. And when I say unlearning is we've learned about these systems, now we need to learn about new ones, create new ones. So coaching alone from Finn's mom, MJ, these mindset workshops are incredible. It's worth the $1,100 alone. All right. The eligibility here. Now, I know I've invited people who are not yet eligible, but I'm so glad that you're here because you can hear the story and hear the journey. The eligibility to apply is a majority owned, 51% led by women, identified, or non-binary. You must have a product that's getting recurring revenue, a minimum of 50K in the last 12 months, up to 2 million. In Australia or New Zealand. Hopefully we have some people here from New Zealand. And you need to have your company registered in the entity that they're in the region that you're applying in, meaning New Zealand or Australia. And self-identifying how you're working on the world's to-do list. So those are the sustainable development goals. We have links on the application. You can see what the sustainable development goals and making sure that you somehow identify to them, whether it's providing living wages, something in sustainability, education, making the world a better place, racial justice. They're all self-identified and you get to identify, and we're not going to judge you on that. Let's see. And so you'll see the word cis or trans, and I know that word comes up a lot. What cis means is it refers to the gender that you were born with, that you were assigned at birth. So I am a white, cisgendered, straight woman, American woman who recognizes my privilege and learning to decolonize my brain. So that's just a little bit who I am, but I am. All right. The other thing, so I mentioned this is opposite land. SheEO is different because it's no winner takes all. The application process alone, you will get connected to hundreds of activators, hundreds of people who will be reviewing your application. I can give you many examples of women that I have, ventures that I have become connected to, I've become customers of, I have shared, I have encouraged them to apply again because I've seen their application and I love what they're doing. And that will happen to you as well if you apply. One of the last question is, what is your ask? And you have a very generous ask. You can ask anything and you'll have people because women love to help out and respond. All right. So that's a little bit about SheEO. We can go back and ask more questions about that. But we are going to now hear from Amy Bateman. I'm going to stop sharing, of Pleasant State. And Pleasant State is helping forward-thinking Australians reduce toxic chemicals and plastic in their homes with revolutionary just add water cleaning products. So Amy, if you could say a little bit about your venture, and we'll talk about your venture and then I can ask you questions so you don't have to think and I will just plant you the journey.
Fantastic. Good evening, everyone, or well, it's almost morning, Finn. I'm dialing in from Gubby Gubby Land. I'm very excited to be here presenting and speaking to you. Yeah, so as Julie said, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Pleasant State. We make just add water cleaning products. So we've been able to eradicate single-use plastics and toxins from your cleaning regime. We wanted to make them really beautiful. So we made glass and silicone bottles combined with a concentrated cleaning bar that comes in a home compostable wrap. So all you need to do when you run out of your multi-purpose bathroom or glass cleaner is purchase refills. To date, since launching Pleasant State, we've now saved over 80,000 single-use plastic bottles from ever being produced and ending up in landfill. We're in over 15,000 customer homes across Australia and New Zealand. And to date, we've donated and gifted product to the value of $38,000. So that's a little bit about us. You're on mute, Julie.
All right. I'm going to ask about, since this is about the venture application, I'm going to ask about what your experience was with the application when you applied last year. So you're in the third cohort. So it's not yet been a year, but you can recall back on what the application process was like.
Definitely. I remember I was part of an incubator program and Monica Bradley came and presented. So she's quite involved in the network and she got up. She talked about SheEO and I was like, wow, where have these people been all my life? Because I have a really big corporate background and very different network. She mentioned the SheEO fund. And at the end, I remember I said to her, but what's the catch? Like, what's the interest rate? What are the terms? She said 0%. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And just from that moment, I was like, that's it. I'm definitely going for this money. A 0% interest-free loan would be amazing. But you know, as I became an activator, it was clear it was a lot more than just the money. As Julie mentioned before, the unlearning process has been really amazing as well. So yeah, in terms of the process, I got involved with SheEO quite a few months in advance so I could meet everyone and just make sure that the community resonated with myself and my team and the business. And it was really clear that that was the case. And then, yeah, the moment it was released, I made sure that myself and the team were really across the questions and the process. And then, yeah, I always like to spend quite a bit of time. This is just my process. I spend quite a bit of time thinking about the questions before I write them down, so that when it comes to the writing, I'm pretty confident that I'm covering everything. But yeah, like Julie said, the questions were not particularly onerous or challenging. Definitely, you know, it's important to be really authentic. I think there's no way to game the system, like not at all. I think what was surprising to me is that the final ventures that were selected, they're not necessarily ones that I would have necessarily chosen. So there's no real clear criteria because the whole network is choosing it. And what I did notice amongst the winners was, how do I put this? It was really clear their passion for their business. It was like that their business was a bigger purpose, like it was a purpose above themselves. And I think that that was probably the core thing across the businesses, not necessarily what they've achieved or what they've done or how well they present. So that I did the process. That wasn't too hard. I would say that, you know, be across your financials because, you know, the following stages, you definitely have to get your financials together. So that's anything from your profit and loss to your balance sheets. And that can often take some time. So spend some time getting across that. But it was a really good opportunity for us to look at how we link with the Sustainable Development Goals, because actually B Corp has been the guiding framework for us to date. But to dig into the Sustainable Development Goals, that was a really useful process because increasingly I'm actually seeing that through other award or grant processes that the Sustainable Development Goals are definitely being used as a benchmark to establish, I guess, how sustainable businesses really are.
So I want to highlight something that you said, that you came in early as an activator to meet other women who were basically going to review your application. Totally not a conflict of interest. You as an activator can vote for yourself. Totally not a conflict of interest. You should back yourself. You mentioned if you make it to the second round, the next round, there is more of a financial request. There are activators ready to hold your hand and help out. What I heard last year also, there was a semifinalist that helped another semifinalist with their their finances. So this is the radical generosity in the community.
Yeah, definitely. And that was so obvious throughout the entire process, like really clear communication, constantly offering to help. I'm not always very good at taking that up. Did I? I probably did sense check it with someone. I can't remember. It was a while ago. Sorry, my brain's a bit fried. But yeah, I was just really amazed at how inclusive the process was and how welcoming, just so different to other award processes, which are really secretive. And here's the criteria and there's conflicts and don't share things, don't disclose things. So that was a really lovely thing about the process.
And the other thing I just want to point out is the selection process. So you looked at ventures very different than someone like I might have looked at ventures. So while there's that criteria is going to be very different, and we literally say vote with your bias. So the activators are going to vote with what resonates with them, who they can help, who they will buy from, who they will tell their friends about. And every single application gets feedback, which is really amazing that you never have that. And I know people that are applying merely for if I call it an exercise in marketing, get your word out there, get your name out there. Again, many companies I have come across because they didn't make it on further, but I still am a customer for them. So keep that in mind. Let's see. Now what is the impact? So you got in, you were selected. What has been the impact on Pleasant State since you've been in this community?
Yes. So one, finding people that I really resonate with, which was such a relief. And that unlearning process coming from big corporate, I've had to unlearn a lot of stuff. And as I continue on in my journey, I have to continue to do that. So one thing that's been super helpful is access to the ongoing mentor. So my mentor is Lauren, and she's really incredible. She's worked with huge startups. She's based in the US. And even the other day, actually, we were having a conversation. We're just about to do a raise. And I was saying, I would really love this particular investor. They're so impressive, but I have this real anxiety for some reason in engaging with them. And I said, it's because I think I feel like not good enough, or he'll ask me questions that I don't know the answers to. And we dug into it deeper. And actually, what we uncovered was, no, it's a real values misalignment. And we're not aligned in how we would run a business. And while, yes, he's super impressive, the way that he does business is really traditional, and that's not Pleasant State. We are trying to do things really differently. So just having someone like that I can have these conversations with, and that helps me keep aligned in terms of our values and objectives as it relates to being a purpose-led organization has been like incredible. The second is, we were successful in securing funds, and that helped me sleep at least for a few weeks. That was amazing. But one thing we're able to do was invest in a brand positioning piece, which is really important in setting us up for our next financial raise. Because since we launched while we were Australia's first, a lot of competitors have entered, and investors are really starting to ask us questions about why we're different. So without those funds, I think we'd still be like, well, we're just better. Like our product is just better. But now we really have a clear idea about who we are, where we're going, how we're going to get there. And without the SheEO funds, we couldn't do that. And hence it couldn't have set us up for that next phase. The other thing is, while Julie says it's like not a winner's take all, there's actually this massive network of women around SheEO. So they're either angel investors themselves, they work in VC, they're starting up other funds, and they're really, their goal is really to address the inequalities around female founders accessing capital and to offer much better terms. So rather than your venture capitalists expecting 10 times returns, or you're not being able to get a loan from the bank because you're not profitable yet, or you don't have like 2 years of trading history, they're providing different funding models, not too different to the SheEO loan, but definitely they expect a return on their money, as they should. And these kind of groups are popping up, and they're really invested in continuing to support SheEO businesses. So whether you win or not, like just getting on their radar and having conversations with these women and understanding what other financing options are out there for you, I think is really critical. So that's been another massive benefit, Julie.
And we also there's a venture portfolio of the ventures around the world, and we have a SheEO store. And I know you were promoting stuff during Christmas. Did that help boost, or did you find anything with just the network of women who not only are venture or VCs or investors, but they're customers? They're going to help you with your products. So how did some of those other ancillary benefits?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. So it's another way to build brand awareness. A lot of the women in this network, women and others, are definitely customers of Pleasant State, and then they just are constantly promoting us. So yeah, that's been really amazing. And yes, also building a profile internationally has been incredible. But I think just being able to speak to other people in the same situation who like are really trying to do things differently, and sharing your war stories, because I think we can all relate. Like it can be a really lonely journey. You can often think that you're the only one struggling, and that you wish you were doing better, but you're not quite. Like we all share these stories, and anytime I come to these calls, even though sometimes I feel I've got other things to do, I'm really busy, I always walk away just feeling much calmer and like clear about what I need to do going forward.
Great. So we could probably talk for hours about experience in the SheEO community. Both ventures have experience as well as activators who haven't applied. Final question. The best tips for any tips that you have for submitting the best application?
Well, I know, like you said, winner, like there's no winner takes all, but I always operate like I'm going to win. Like, I don't know why, it just puts me in the right mindset to do the best. Like, I'm just like, I'm just going to win this. Like, I don't see why I would do anything half-hearted. Like there is immense benefit to be getting through as a semi-finalist or even a winner. So I always commit myself fully to this process, because I know the benefit is really great. And I really think like I'm going to win. And even if you don't, to be honest, like anytime I don't, I'm just like, that's their loss, like whatever. They don't quite get it. They don't understand. But at least if I've always done my best, I don't have any regrets, and I can be like, oh, well, that they just didn't get it. So yeah, I would operate like you're in it to win it.
So mindset.
Yes, mindset. And man, like honestly, the moment that I heard about this loan from Monica Bradley, that was it. I decided that I was going after that, and that was probably a year before I got to it, and I manifested it a lot.
So I will open it up. I think I might have a little bit more slides, but I'm going to open it up to any questions. Suzanne, I know will always have something to share. She's both an activator and considering applying as a venture. As an activator who gets to read the applications, I want to hear, speak from your heart. Why are you the right person? Why should I back you? And just, speak from the heart. And it shouldn't take more than, you could take as long as you want. Its deadline is June 10th. I also recommend listening to the playlist. If I haven't blabbed on about that, it's a great playlist to get you excited. And I see Suzanne's hand is up.
And yes, I am driving. So thank you very much, Julie. I won't turn my camera on. Thank you so much for sharing what you've shared. My question that I do have at the moment is are you able to see the questions before you hit the criteria button?
Yes.
Or is it, yes?
Yes, and I'm sure Finn will get it in the chat beforehand, and we can email it to you. You can see that all the application, again, is created by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs. And it's on the invitation page of the SheEO Ventures. So if you go to SheEO Venture application on the page. Finn?
Great. No, that's fine. And I wanted to share, which as you know that I do, because I'm not across of everyone else that's on the call. But yeah, as an activator who's been an activator for 3 years, it was only towards the end of last year that I made the choice, that I had set the intention that 2022 was to go forward as an application. And what I have learned, what I have applied and put into process in my life in both that privately and my professional life from SheEO has always served as I have all that I need before I know that I actually need it. So it's an amazing community. It's part of an ecosystem. So thank you for giving the opportunity. And as I said, and as an activator, I welcome any of the ventures that want to apply to even contact me. I put my LinkedIn there because I'm, as we know, as an activator, you can also vote for yourself, which is what I like to. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
That's one of her squids. Are there any questions? Finn, if you could put up slide 10, you can. We're just going to show what you get out of this, out of the network, out of the community. Amy shared some of the things. You get connections to values-aligned community, which, you know, mentioning being an entrepreneur, doing it alone is difficult. But being an entrepreneur is difficult. Doing it alone is even more difficult. So you have a community of 5,000 women around the globe. There's a great active Slack channel. You get access to becoming, as a venture, you get access to all of these programs that I mentioned, learning about finance, how there's conversations talking about not power over, but power with, and money is highly attached to that. It is not just about money, as Amy mentioned. It is about the network. It's about the coaching. It's about customers. It's about getting access to expertise and resources that women really, really, really want to help. So here's some of the things that you get if you make it, if you are finally selected in the end. But again, the process alone, I find, is really, really valuable. Now, are there any questions, or just ask if there's people who want to share who they are and what they're doing? Emma, calling on you. If you don't have to, you can just say hi.
Oh, look, I just put a question in chat. Just because we had a fantastic year last year. It was our first year, and it was huge. We got on TV, on the radio, on the media. We got everywhere. Sales were absolutely enormous, and we couldn't have been happier.
Wait,
but
Emma, tell us a little bit. What's the company? Who are you? So
it's waste-free celebrations, and we make reusable Christmas crackers. And we've patented the world's first reusable cracker. At a time when 400 million crackers are popped every year and just most go to landfill. And it was fantastic. And we sold over $500,000 of crackers in our first year. But I'm really worried because I made so many mistakes that we didn't make much money and our profit doesn't look very good. It was only our first year, and I'm concerned that if I submit our financials, it's just going to show, honestly, I feel like I'm going to show what a failure I was because I managed it so badly in terms of how much money we sold an amazing amount and we were a hit, but I just made mistakes, and I feel like it's only going to make me look bad, not good.
I want to celebrate you, Emma. First of all, yes. We're coming here. You're in the right place. The first round, we are not asking about financials. You do not have to submit anything. You're going to sell who you are. You just have to just say that you have made more than 50K in the last 12 months, which it sounds like you have. Your story, what you're doing it, why you're the right person. The activators will fall in love with you. And if you go to the next round, then you put your financials in there. And people they're not going to judge you. They want to help you. Oh, they'll say, Emma really needs this help. And we can help her not just with the funding, but we can help her with the coaching. We can help her with the connecting to the right people, with the marketing, with the branding. Amy, anything else you want to add?
Oh yeah, 100%, Emma. I totally relate. Being an e-commerce business, I'm always like, we've just cracked the $500,000 of revenue. I'm like, why do I still not have money?
Why am I still broke?
Exactly. Why do I have to get more money? But there's a difference between your tax statements, your tax returns, and your management accounts. So one thing I've learned, you can actually capitalize a lot of the investments that you put into your branding and marketing. So that's what I say. We're investing in building a brand. We're trying to build significant brand equity. In fact, we invest 30% of our revenues go into branding and marketing activities to build that equity. So what our advisor does is he takes those expenses and he actually converts them into an asset. And in doing that, that actually shows as a profit. And that's a perfectly legitimate way to treat your accounts. So I would actually encourage you to do that. We're doing that for our investors. I've been feeling the exact same way. I'm like, I'm a total failure. We're not making money. Why aren't we profitable? And he just ran our accounts. He's like, oh, you now have a 30,000 profit. I'm like, oh my gosh, because I forgot about this. I know it. Like, you can do this. It's completely okay to do that. So I think you have to start thinking you're building a brand. You have to invest to make that. I wouldn't be expecting that you should be profitable in the first few years. That's the advice I've received from very impressive people who have built consumer brands, and then work with someone who can actually capitalize those expenses. And you'll probably be quite surprised that you'll be in a better position than you
It
actually
isn't what
think.
we, okay.
Because you've got cash is different to your equity.
Yeah.
And I celebrate you. I want to celebrate that you've made a lot of money. You've proven that there's a market, and you've got clappers on this call right now. And so the first round, again, I want you to have fun with the application, speak from your heart why you set this up, because again, the first round where you do not have to submit ridiculous financials. You're telling your story, why you're doing it, proving the point that you had $500,000 in sales, or I think that was the number.
I would also like to add, just Emma, during the second round, the way that it's set up is like, you do have to submit financials to make sure that like we understand like what your business model is, and then like how your finances are going. But through that process, we have activator validation team, who you can basically request one-on-one help, and they can help you get all of those things settled and figure out like your balance sheet and why it's not adding up or whatever. Like, I'm the one who's like leading that team in terms of like who those people are. So like through that process, like it's you have like an entire, like, I think like 4 or 5 weekends to get that stuff together. And then secondly, I'm setting up like working groups so people can just come on the call, and like if you're having trouble and things aren't adding up at the bottom, like we can put you in a breakout room with like an activator who is in like banking or finance, who can help sort that things out. So like,
because that's my worst skill is that finance, like all the other stuff, great, but I fall apart and I feel like I'm just going to show up and be a failure and not good enough because that skill is I just don't have it at all.
Emma, in the questions in the first round, you can say, I need help with my financials. If you want to be as vulnerable as you want, this is not my strength. I need someone to help me with financials. Whether or not you make it to the next round, you will have women that say, I will come and help you. I love what you're doing. I want to support you. So that can be number 11, what is your ask? Totally acceptable.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And Megan had her hand patiently waiting.
Hi. Yay. Hi. So I'm Megan. I'm a lawyer in the United States and Australia, and I run OmniTax, which is an app that's been designed to help U.S. expatriates file their U.S. taxes from anywhere in the world. Yeah, I was wondering. I'm like, I don't want to say it because if she's Canadian, she'll smack me. But
no, it's the Canadians that get upset when they think they're Americans.
Yeah, but I'm like, if I say she's American and she's actually Canadian, she will get nope, not going there. No. So anyway, my question is, obviously, it's an international business by design. I'm really sorry. I have Bluey on in the background. If any Americans want to watch season 3, I'm happy to stream it for you. So I'm based in Australia. We're currently a company in Australia. My business partner is in Memphis, Tennessee, because we feel like first of all, she's based in Memphis, but we also think there's a really good opportunity there for working with marginalized and disadvantaged groups to grow a business. That said, we want to be sure that we're applying in the correct geographical region. Like we don't want to fluff anyone around. We don't want to run off in the wrong direction. We want to respect your time and the effort that people are putting into this. So is it worth applying in just one? Is it worth applying in both? Because we also do have different needs in each location.
So my one question regarding, because the revenue or the criteria is like, company must be registered as a legal entity in the region which you're applying to. So are you saying that you are registered in, like, where is your business registered? Is it registered in Australia or?
Yeah, we're currently registered in Australia. We're in the process of completing registration in Tennessee.
Okay, so what I would say is, in terms of applying, I would apply in Australia
Okay.
because that's where you have like, once it is settled in Tennessee, if that becomes like, whenever that does become, because applications open in the North, September 6th,
Mhm.
which is Australia, September 7th. But
It's a hot mess. The whole thing's just a mess. Yes.
but I will say is like, I would do it in Australia, given that you already are registered in Australia.
Thank you.
Yes.
Who sent you here? Because someone was just talking about you and I'm trying to,
Lisa Brinkat.
we just spent the night here. This is her bed.
She's adorable. Oh my goodness. Yes. And she emailed me this morning. She's like, hey, I think that you should jump on this call. And we're in an accelerator together. And she's just,
Oh, SBE, right.
yes, yeah, we're in SBE together. And she's just been, she took some of my calls last week. I had silly questions about funding and just processes. And she was like, yeah, no, girl, I got you. Like, no, so giving with her time. She just wants people to succeed.
Yeah, and just a side note with that, so Lisa Brinkout, the one we're talking about, has been an activator for a few years, saw the fact that we can't fund all of the applicants that come through SheEO. What can she do to make sure that they do get funded? So anyone that applies, anyone that makes it to a semifinalist, we are going to look at them, and I say we because I'm helping her out. She backs me as another fund that we will be helping out companies as well. It's a little different model than SheEO, but we want to help all of these women that apply. And before I go on, because I think this is really important, SheEO is changing our name. So because it is not inclusive enough, while it was a fun portmanteau with CEO, using the word CEO and the binary pronoun of she, not everyone identifies that way. So, and not everyone wants to be a CEO. So we are working collaboratively with the community to change the name. The community is not changing, just the name. So I just want to put that out there because we are hell bent on making sure that this is going to be a more inclusive community, but in name at least, because we are already in.
And I have to say, that's one of the things that like my co-founder is, it's 2:30 in the morning there. So obviously she's not in the call, but that was one of the draws of this organization is that it's non-binary.
And Finn, correct me if I'm wrong. I think there is a network of activators in Tennessee, if not Memphis. Is it Memphis that they're in? There was a gaggle of activators there.
I think so. I think it's Tennessee because I've been feeling a little bit jealous of why I'm in LA.
They have way too much fun out there in Memphis. I'm like, no.
I like just moved to LA and I'm like, I don't know what's happening here, but it's fine.
Now I want to see Davinia. Davinia was on an earlier call. If you have any questions, I love how she found us and why she found us. And I'm hoping this has been helpful answering more questions. You're on mute. If you want to say anything, you don't have to say. Where'd you go?
Hello, hi. I don't have any questions right now, but if I do while I'm applying, who do I contact?
And contact me, Julie at SheEO.world. Finn, correct me if I'm wrong, but will hi at SheEO.world get questions answered? I think all of this.
SheEO, I can also send you a follow-up email with, you can always reach out to ventures at SheEO.world, any sort of SheEO.world. But your go-to people, I would say, is me. I'm the venture project / program manager. Julie is a lovely human being. She is the
Local.
Oh yeah, there's that. I'm very much not local. And then also somebody who's not on this call, her name is Susie Pan, and she's the director of ventures. And it's midnight for her, so she's not up. I don't know why I'm up, but you know. But I can send you an email with that and CC. So if you just have any other questions or want to meet up. Yeah.
This is the way this community works. I want to have a venture. There's a venture WhatsApp group. I need a venture to talk on this call so you can share your experience. And Amy at 6:30 responds to my text at 6:30. So people show up and they have your back, and it is genuine. Kirsty, did you have anything? I know I know why you're here.
I'm literally last minute cooking kids. I'm obviously pre-launch. Is it too early to get involved in some way in this amazing sounding community?
So becoming an activator is one.
Okay.
And that will give you access to everyone, to the people, to the ventures. If you want to split it, share it with someone, you can go in. And hopefully I'm not over. And this is okay. There are people that have shared it. That means that you and whoever you share it with will vote together, and you have the one. But it is an incredible community that you get access to all of these unlearning circles, to the ventures, to other activators. Hopefully this is just a smidge and taste of the energy of these gatherings.
But like the other ladies were saying, the guys, this is kind of what I've been looking for, because I've been sitting at home with all of this happening in my head, just going, oh, look, there's people out there who speak my language.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And another thing that I will say is, if I don't know if this was always something that was happening at SheEO, but there was a time where, because it's $92 a month, you can choose to activate for the year, or you can choose to activate for like 1 month to get like a taste. Because I know that like for some people that paying all of that at once is not accessible given the pandemic and whatever it's doing to everyone's different finances. And then another thing I will say is, for people who are applying who are afraid I'm not going to make it all the way, as a semi-finalist, you have 1 year access to the community, and as a venture, you have like lifetime access. So even if you aren't selected, you still get to be part of the community, and you very much are quite visible, and people are there to support you.
And I also want to add, this is very much on your own terms. As an activator, showing up, some people just pay their money and they never come to anything. Some people are on every call and vote every day. The other thing that I want to mention also is very unique in how the money is divided. So it is up to a $100,000 loan that will be decided on how it is going to be disseminated after you have a couple of months with your coach. So it's not, you come in, and we've shifted this, but it's clear that you come in, some people don't even want the loan or don't need the loan. They realize that a loan's not going to be helpful for them, but the community and network is, the mentioning of, and being in the SheEO community is. So that happens a couple of months after working with your coach, and it's divided however it makes sense to divide it. Finn, you could probably talk more, because I know it's a little different this year.
Yeah, so we have a new onboarding process that has shifted recently, that also has shifted in the wake of the new name as well. Is just understanding that like the loan is a very important part and is a lot of the reason that people are attracted to SheEO. And as many people on this call have already said, that it is the community, and that there's many different types of loans that people can apply to. But what I think differentiates SheEO is the fact that when we do, like, if selected, you work with your development guide, which is what Julie was saying, for 3 months. And also this new part that we're starting to put in place is you get to work with a financial accountant, and they get to go through your financials, and then the development guide, the venture, and you get to figure out like what is actually the smartest thing for, like, is taking out a loan right now the smartest thing? Is it a good idea to take out 100K right now? And like, is it feasible for you in terms of your business and where you want to go to? Do you want to do all of that at once? Is it smarter for you to do it in little tranches? Like, so the thing that we're shifting towards is like understanding who you are, understanding what your business is and what it needs, and what's like holistically what's right, rather than just like, here you go, bye,
Not cookie cutter is what we're saying. So I'm almost tempted to give back 15 minutes, letting everyone know the deadline is June 10th. I promise you it's a fun, interesting application. There are many activators out there very excited to read your applications. There are more of these venture calls. If you feel that this wasn't enough, you can come on and ask more questions. That's also when you do log into the application, you can sign up for more for more calls. And hope to see it on June 10th. And a final request, if there's any other questions, you can put them in the chat. Otherwise, you can have your 15 minutes back for dinner. Emma, it's late for you. Is it late for you? Later. Megan, I can't wait to see yours because I just did my taxes on TurboTax.
Yeah, we're going for TurboTax. TurboTax is in our crosshairs. Thank you so much.
Guys.
One question, Julie. I tried to access my application from last year on that link that was sent through, and it just kept going nowhere. How do I access, because it said use your application from last year, but then it said click here and nothing happened. How do I get last year's application?
So let me, when it's daytime for me, let me go in on the back end. Here, let me spot myself so you can see me. Let me go in on the back end and figure out, and I can find it and send that past application to you. I just need to figure it out, and it needs to be not 1 a.m. But I will 100% do that. No. I just want to let you know that timing wise, it might be a couple hours.
It's okay. That's okay.
But I will 100% look into that tomorrow as soon as I wake up and get that sent to you.
Great. Lovely. Thanks for that.
I also had a problem when I went in at first. It took me a while for it to load in. I don't have a past application, but I had to be patient.
Yeah. Gosh, I look terrible on this call. My kids have COVID and I'm just, I looked at myself.
You're doing a fabulous job, Emma. Take that on board. You're doing a fabulous job.
I just want to breathe and drink in all the abundance you have just shared.
My gosh. It's like, it's the whole thing of what you're doing. Like, you should have heard the kids in the back of the car going, the never-ending Christmas cracker. That's awesome.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They're niche, but it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, man, like that's something that's another Christmas present that, as I said, we're all talked about. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, Finn, I know it's so early in the morning for you, but I'd like to flag if there's an opportunity that I'll just jump in now. Can I communicate with you via the Slack? Is that okay?
Yes. Slack, email at Finn@SheEO. You can WhatsApp me at my weird phone number that I'll put in the chat.
Cool, thanks.
And totally anything. I can't wait till you see my phone number. It's actually kind of funny.
Did you make it up?
No, but I went through. This is not my area code at all. My phone number is 628-333-0999. Not my area code at all. Nowhere near where I am, but I like the repetition. So feel free to like WhatsApp me. Like I'm reachable at whatever way is best and most convenient for you.
I'm going to say
awesome. Totally appreciative.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for all the background noise. I'm at the footy club. And thanks,
this
Julie.
Is perfect.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you, Amy.
Today's 2 calls have been awesome. And I had a big chat with Tony before I came into this one as well. So, yeah.
Looking forward to seeing your applications, Emma. Sorry, I'm in Australia. I won't be able to see yours, but I will float it along to my New Zealand friends that are there. Suzanne, Davinia, great to see you again. And thank you, Amy, for all that you've done and shared.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
There we go. Okay, go to sleep. Stop recording.